Okay, so this is a quick tutorial on a way of putting on an alternator belt onto an Isuzu engine in this is a Zaxxas 120. Zaxxas 130 would be similar. Most of them are similar. So up here you can see this is the air conditioning compressor pulley. Now the problem is here is the belt and the tensioner V-belt tensioner pulley is very expensive. This one here is it's like 180 or 90 euros for this pulley alone. And I guess that's why this air conditioning is working on this machine, because somebody wasn't going to pay that, plus it's like 50 euro for a belt for it. So I decided to go another way about it, and I found these couple of bits which I'll just show now. So if you can see, what I'm talking about here is this little Timekin V-belt pulley, which is actually second hand, but it's mainly to try and see is this whole thing going to work, and if it does, I may be able to get a new one of these. Well, I know I can get a new one of these. So this here is a 10874 Timekin, and this little V-belt tensioner will pretty much just for me will be my tensioner for this job. So obviously I had to figure out a way of mounting this. So this M16 8.8 metric bolt, and it is my screen's not working, my battery's dead, so it's 70. So it's an M16 be 70, something similar is fine. What I've done is I have used the grinder to cut both sides off the bolt, so that leaves me that I can slot it into the slider for the to hold the pulley for the tensioner slider. And this here will hold this, while on the back side all I needed was a couple of washers. So I've put a couple of washers, you can see this here, a couple of washers like this here, and I haven't mounted this yet now, so I'm just trying to figure out. I have a narrow washer and I have a slightly thicker washer, and my plan is that this one is a little bit too thick, I think. So I have these two washers here which I can use then to gap it out from the side of the bracket. So I'm just going to show you now. I'm going to mount this up, and I'm going to see can I get this to to hold the belt properly. And I will have a wee bit of a different way of trying to tension the belt, but this pulley itself to buy is only around 50 euro. So it's a huge saving. Like the belt was 8 euro. So this belt, you just get this in any auto parts, any auto factor store. So yeah, I'm going to show you that now. I'm just going to mount that now. So I've just cut this. I've cut this here. This is just under 10 mil wide. That slot is 10 mil, and I've just cut this underneath 10 mil so that it goes into the slot and can slide, but yet the bolt can't turn, so it means you can tighten the nut on the back side. Well, I'm hoping that's the way it's going to work out. So I'm just going to try and get this now. Let's see. You could probably do this the other way around, but I was just thinking about it, and I just seen that it was probably going to be a little bit more work to do it the other way around. Put the thread side out on this side. That would leave that you wouldn't have to hold anything on the inside. But when you cut, I had a shoulder on the bolt that I was trying to use to hold the bearing, so I just wanted to make sure it was good and secure. But I just want to hold the inner race of the bearing, so I'm just going to slide this up now out of my way, try to get my belt on. This belt, by the way, is 13 by 1100. That's the size that will fit this. That's what most people would like to know there, is what size would fit it without having to buy a genuine belt. So it took me a little while to figure that out, because we have obviously when any place you look for these belts, a lot of places won't tell you what size you need. Now 1100 for this job works. I'm not certain if the original, the OEM belt is exactly the same, but it's probably similar. Alright, so that works. So I'm just going to slide this back down, bring up some tension on it. It's hard to tell if it's in line or not, but I actually don't think it is in line. I think it's actually in a little bit to the inside, so I might put one of these larger washers on to bring it out a little bit from the edge of the, I'd rather it out a little bit. So let me just do a bit of an adjustment here. So now instead of the little narrow washer I had on, this little narrow one, I'm going to use this one that's slightly thicker, which will bring me out an extra millimeter. An extra millimeter on this, quite a bit, like, so I'm not going to go crazy. I just want to make sure it's kind of as close as I can get to in line. So I'll put it back in. The original one has, which I'm sure most people know, is there's a little bolt goes in here, and that bolt attaches to this here, and you can adjust it up and down to tension it. But there is other ways of doing things, so that's why I've done it this way. You can tension this perfectly in another manner by using grips to pull it down. So get it threaded now. I want the air conditioner working. So what I'm going to do to tension this belt is, yeah, that's pretty good. I like the gap. The gap's very good. So the gap's very good, and the belt actually looks in line. So let's just see. So if you had a pair of these grips or something similar, you can use them to pull this down like so. And I'll just try to get a span on it. It's actually difficult with the camera, but let's see. Just don't want to block your view. Tighten this a tiny bit so that it might actually move. If I just bring this up, it's on a spring washer, so if I just give this a little pull now. No guarantee this will work, but it's most definitely worth a try. Might take a little bit of work to get it just lined up right, but I think it'll work. Done things like this before, so that's fairly tight. Yeah, so I'll nip it on up and see what happens. So that's where the little bolt on the bottom side here would actually come in handy to adjust the tension up and down. But you see, I get most of these V belts need retightened after after a week or two when you put them on the bed in, and they can come a wee bit free and they can slip a little bit, but so I can retension it in a few days. It's not a problem. So I'm going to run this now, and I'm going to come down and check to see how it's going. Hopefully it doesn't. It seems to be where it needs to be. There's a gap right around the pulley. The pulley isn't against the frame. You don't want the pulley against the frame or the rack itself. So let's have a little look and see how this goes. I could be wrong that this is going to be my only problem, but I think it is.